Welcome back, class, to Fairy Tale 101, where we disprove everyone's hatred to our favorite show, Fairy Tale. And if you haven't seen the first video, I recommend you go check it out so you know what we're talking about today. Now, I've been looking over the comments of the last video and noticed some points that people were saying didn't make sense, and I want to get to those in today's video. And hopefully wrap this up and show everybody why they should not be hating on Fairy Tale for the stupid points they give, and instead show what Fairy Tale does right and why it is such an amazing story loved by so many people. Now with our first talking point, which is Dragon Slayer magic itself. This was something I saw people have a lot of confusion in the comments of the last video. Things like Natsu's lightning dragon form and Rogue's white shadow dragon form. And for me to explain those, I first need to explain what Dragon Slayer magic is and how it differs from other types of magics within the Fairy Tale world. Dragon Slayer magic isn't its own elemental type of magic. Like, Natsu's flames aren't the same as another fire mage's magic in the show, because Dragon Slayer magic is an enchantment type magic. Irene, the first Dragon Slayer and the creator of Dragon Slayer magic, was an enchantress. She created Dragon Slayer magic as her enchanting herself with dragon magic, which is why in scenes from the early anime and manga you see Natsu covering his mouth with his hands and there being a magic circle on the other end where he's breathing into his hands, and out the other side comes flames. He isn't breathing flames, he's enchanting his breath with fire dragon magic and igniting them, in a similar way to he enchants his fist with flames and boxes with fire, which isn't something you see done by most other fire mages in the show. The same goes for Gajiel, who enchants his body with iron magic. And it's why Agnologia is as strong of a dragon slayer as he is because he doesn't have any underlying elements that hold him back. He is just a pure dragon slayer. So he is able to eat other people's magic or any other form of magic and use it as his own and adapt it to his own attacks. Which is why when he eats the space-time rift and eats his way out, he is now able to use space-time magic. Which is why we have scenes like Wendy enchanting Urza's sword with Dragon Slayer's magic against her mother. Or you see scenes like Loxus enchanting Natsu with his lightning magic. You don't ever see Natsu eat the lightning. He is enchanted with it by Loxus because it is enchantment type magic. Now, it does have some differences, like Gajiel forcefully enchanting himself with Rogue's shadow magic in a similar way to how Agnologia does it. Because at its core, it's all Dragon Slayer magic. They've just added their own element to it. But Dragon Slayer magic at its core doesn't require the element. It is just a nerf given to it. That is why Wendy is able to enchant Natsu with the power of the other Dragon Slayers, and you get this magnificent rainbow flame of all the other Dragon Slayers' magic. I know in my last video I made it sound like friendship isn't a big part of the Fairy Tale story, and I apologize for that. Friendship is a big part of the story, but it isn't the end-all be-all in power. Natsu doesn't eat flames of friendship to replenish his magic every time he's low on power, just like Gajiel doesn't eat iron of friendship to replenish his magic. My point was that friendship isn't the only reason that these characters get stronger or the only reason these characters win fights. A certain point I missed in my last video was pushing the importance of the fact that magic in the world of Fairy Tale is directly connected to the character's emotions. So the more emotion you feel, the stronger your magic is. Natsu, his flames get stronger the angrier he is. So, yes, while friendship is an important part of the Fairy Tale story, it isn't the end-all be-all of their power. They still gain power through means that were written into the story. Now, they refuse to quit because they're fighting for their friends, yes, but it isn't their friendship that directly correlates with their power. Natsu eats Etherion to gain power in his fight against Jalal. and so on. It isn't the end all be all. Your emotions and how you feel are directly connected to your magic, which is why attacks like Fairy Law, if you don't view someone as your enemy, it won't insta-kill them because it is a insta-kill move. That requirement is even heavier. The fight to me that seems the most influenced by the power of friendship is Natsu versus Zeref, in which Natsu draws power from his friends using the fairy tale emblem in a similar way to how they were all connected in power on Tenro Island. And he used that power to finally beat Zeref. But that's not the point that people call power of friendship. The point that most people say is power of friendship in that fight is when Lucy rewrites the book to help Natsu in the fight. And while yes, Lucy does rewrite that book, she only memorized certain characters and rewrote them back into the book of E&D. She didn't make Natsu more powerful because his friends are here. That was all Natsu's doing in that fight, of drawing from the power of his friends and drawing from the Fairy Tail Guild itself through the connection they have through the Fairy Tail emblem, which is another reason why Natsu versus Zeref is one of my favorite fights in the show. I won't say it's my favorite, but it's in my top 3 at least. Another part of the fairy tale story that people like to hate on is Or's sacrifice to buy everyone a second chance. And people like to say that, oh, that made no sense, it was just a plot armor point to save everybody. And it wasn't necessarily plot armor, that was Or's redemption arc. She sacrificed her life to save the world after being someone wanting to destroy it and bring back Zeref to destroy the world. She was redeeming herself and trying to save everybody. Now, I won't get into like later parts where she came back, because that is definitely a flaw in the fairy tale story of not letting their characters die. But I don't like to accept that she came back. I like to think that that was her redemption arc. That was the end of her character. Which it was a flawless execution of her redemption when she realizes that even though she's trying to redeem herself for all the bad things she's done, it didn't amount to more than a couple of seconds, and you could hear the pain in her voice when she realizes that it wasn't worth that much time. But in the end, it was just the right amount of time that everyone needed to survive. So while she did protect everyone like she wanted, the realization that her life was not worth anything but a couple of seconds was not only her redemption, but her karma as well. Her payback from the world for all the bad things she had done. Showing that even though you become a good character, you don't escape your past. Now with that, I know I didn't talk as much today as I did in the last video, and I apologize for that. But I do want to thank you guys for the amazing feedback I got from the last video. I never expected that video to get as much traction as it did, or for all the amazing comments that I got from it. And if you guys want to see more content like this, I'm happy to make it. But I just wanted to thank you guys so much for everything. And with that being said, peace.